Hello and welcome. Imagine you are asked to deliver a major project, perhaps launching a new application, building a new facility, or implementing a new business process. At first, it can feel like a huge collection of activities, meetings, documents, decisions, and deadlines. So, question is, how do we bring that work under control? The answer is five project management process groups. And in this video, we are going to look at these five process groups as a simple story rather than memorizing them as five isolated terms. We will see how a project moves from authorization to planning to doing work to checking performance and to finally formally closing the project. And by the end of this video, you should be able to visualize how 49 processes fit into these five logical groups, and more importantly, remember what each group is trying to accomplish. So let's start by looking at overall structure behind 49 processes. Let's imagine that you are planning a large family event. There are many individual activities: deciding what the event is, getting approvals, preparing guest list, arranging the venue, managing suppliers, checking progress, handling changes, and finally wrapping everything up. The project works in a similar way. 49 project management processes are not simply a random list, they are organized into five logical process groups. And think of these groups as five chapters in the story of a project. First comes initiation, wherein we give project a clear beginning and authorization. Next comes planning, where we create a roadmap for how project will be delivered. And next is executing, where team actually perform the planned work, and at the same time monitoring and controlling keeps asking an important question: are we still heading in the right direction? And finally, closing, make sure project is formally completed, resources are released, and lessons are captured. So rather than trying to memorize 49 processes individually, first build this mental picture: start it, plan it, work it, check it, and close it. That simple sequence becomes the backbone of understanding the entire process structure. Now let's bring our project story to life. Suppose your organization decides to implement a new customer service platform. Before anyone start configuring the system, organization need to answer a basic but important question: should we officially start the project? And that's where initiation comes in. Initiating process group is focused on authorization. We define the project or phase, obtain formal authority, assign project managers so organizational resources can be applied. And once project is authorized, we move into planning. And think of planning like creating a detailed travel plan before starting a long journey. We decide where are we going, what route we will take, how much journey will cost, how long it should take, what quality we expect, and how could and what could go wrong. And this is why planning is most process heavy group. It develops a comprehensive project management plan and elaborate areas such as scope, schedule, budget, quality, and risk responses. And here is the key message: initiating gives project permission to begin, while planning gives the team a roadmap. If initiating is unclear, project may not have a strong foundation, and if planning is weak, team may start working without knowing exactly where it is going. Next, once the plan is ready, the team has a roadmap. So what happens next? We execute. Imagine our customer service platform project again. Developers configure the system, analysts prepare data, testers validate functionality, business users review the solution, and project team members communicate with stakeholders. This is executing process group, the actual doing of work defined in project management plan. But here is the important point. A project manager cannot simply create a plan and walk away. While team is executing, we continuously monitor and control the project. Think about driving a car. You may know your destination and have a planned route, but you still look at speedometer, traffic, road signs, and navigation system. And if traffic suddenly blocks a route, you adjust. Monitoring and controlling plays a similar role in a project. We track progress, review performance, identify variance, and initiate necessary changes. For example, if testing takes longer than planned, a project manager needs to recognize that variance early, determine what action is required. And this is why executing and monitoring and controlling works together. One is about work, other is about checking whether work is still moving towards intended outcome. The earlier we identify a problem, the more option we have to respond to it. And now that we have reached the final part of our story, after the project work is completed and performance has been checked, we enter closing. And closing is more than just saying the work is finished. The project must be formally completed, resources need to be released, final documentation need to be completed, and lesson learned should be also captured so organization can benefit from the experiences in future. But there is another important idea: the process groups are connected. Projects do not always move in perfectly straight line. And just imagine during execution, team discovers a new information that affects either schedule or scope. Monitoring and controlling may reveal a variance or a required change. That information can send the team back to planning to adjust the approach before continuing execution. This is feedback loop. So picture project as a journey. Initiating gives us a green light, planning creates the route, execution moves us forward, monitoring and controlling checks whether we are still on the right path, and closing complete that journey. And this mental model is much more useful than memorizing 5 words separately because it shows how groups interact throughout the project. Before we finish, let me make this extremely easy to remember. Take think of 5 simple triggers. Initiating is about authorization. Ask, are we officially starting the project or phase, and who is responsible? And planning is all about project management plan. Ask, what exactly are we trying to do? How will we do it? When we will do it? And what will it cost? And executing is all about work. Ask questions like, are we performing activities defined in the plan and producing the deliverables? And monitoring and control is about on track. Ask, are we performing according to the plan? Do we need a corrective action or change? And finally, closing is all about shut it down and ask questions. Have we formally completed the project, released resources, and documented what we learned? So the complete story is authorization, plan, work, check, and close. And remember, these 5 process groups do not necessarily follow 5 rigid chronological phases. Monitoring and controlling interacts with work throughout the project, and information can flow back into planning when adjustments are needed. And if you remember that story, the structure of 49 processes becomes much easier to understand and recall. And that brings us to the end of our journey through 5 project management process groups. Let's take one final look at our story. We initiate to authorize project. We plan to create a roadmap. We execute to perform the work. We monitor and control to keep the project on track. And we close to formally complete the project and captures the lessons learned. The goal is not simply to memorize 5 names. The goal is to understand how these groups organize project management work and how they connect throughout the project. And I hope this explanation has made the concept easier to visualize and remember, especially when you're planning or preparing for PMP exam or applying project management concept into the real world project. Thank you for watching this video. And if you found this video useful, please like and share it and subscribe to the channel for more project management learning content and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss the next video. And if you have any questions or example from your projects, leave it in the comments. Thank you once again, and I will see you in the next video.